Remember to move my microphone across. So live demo mode is on, and I'm just doing a bit of a walkthrough of this 75 scene pack that I'm calling Ecamm Base Camp. So a couple of little hints and tips to start off with, and then I'm going to show you how to pimp your ride, so to speak. So if you have problems downloading the actual file at all, then occasionally Selfie doesn't like people's email addresses, in particular if they've been used for any sort of email marketing at any point. But sometimes it just randomly decides it doesn't like an email address. So if you are having a problem, it's not getting delivered to you, then just try a different email address and it will probably work. Once you have the file, store it in a safe place. By that I mean just don't leave it in your downloads folder or on your desktop. If you leave it on your desktop, it might get sucked up into the iCloud. So put it into whatever is your safe space for Ecamm files. Then what you can do is just go to the file and double click on it. It will automatically load up the profile and kick off Ecamm as well. So it's as simple as that to get started with it. The first thing you then want to do is go make a duplicate of the file so that you've already always got the original file sitting there that you can go back to if you want to. So to go and make a duplicate, just go up to the profiles menu in Ecamm and say duplicate current profile. It will then ask you for a new profile name, and then you call it Martin's new profile or whatever you want your name to be. Once you have a look at the profile, you will see there is a lot in there. So there's all nicely arranged into folders for you, but there is a lot. Don't be afraid, because most of the time what you're going to do is take a whole bunch of those folders and throw them away from this particular duplicate. So that is because you're not going to need all of the folders and all of the different items within them to run a show. It's just they are there as the Swiss Army knife for everything you could possibly want ever. So you will normally go in and say, right, I'm going to get rid of all of these folders because I don't need them, or these scenes because I don't need them, and just choose the ones, for instance, for 2 guests for interview mode. That might be all that you want, or just choose some of the Zoom ones based upon how many guests you've got, that type of thing. So don't worry if there's a lot in there. You'll normally get rid of it all. Having said that, what you probably want to do in the first instance is to customize the whole profile to your liking, and then use that as effectively your original copy. So Martin's new profile will become the master copy, if you like, and then from that you'll make duplicates of that and then remove the bits that you don't want to use. So go in, take a look around. So over here, hopefully if I bring that back down again, do I drag that back down? How do I get that back down again? Never can remember this. Maybe if I just scroll back out again a little. That's not quite as good as it was before. Never mind. That's good enough. When you move around, things do tend to leap around in live demo mode. I don't really like it. But here's all of the folders that we've got sitting at the side with everything in it, neatly arranged, and as you can see, they have names according to whatever is in them. So if I was doing some square profiles with Streamer Live, then this is where I would go and have a look for the number of guests perhaps that I was bringing on, and I would choose one of those particular scenes that I wanted to play about with and start editing. So that's all of my different scenes down there, and within this particular scene, this is just the first blank scene, which is in title and agenda. So I'm in this scene here at the moment, and I've added my camera on the top, and I just wanted to start with this scene to show you how you can change all your backgrounds and things like that, because that's something that you will want to do. So I have got a logo sitting in the bottom left and bottom right. They are obviously my logos, so these show in all scenes. So they're at the top here and they show in all scenes. What you're going to want to do is drop your logos in place of those. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either right click on the logo itself, and I'll need to unlock them first. So let's do that first, because everything's locked. Potentially only unlock things when you're about to change things. Try not to move cameras and things about. So if I unlock those and go and have a look in there, I can choose to replace the asset with another asset. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do in this first instance, just to let you see how that works. So I'm going to replace that asset, and in this case I'm going to bring in one from my friend John, who we interviewed the other day and played about with his format. Now I've just gone to replace the asset, so by doing that it's maintained all of the curves around that particular asset and a little drop shadow, but as you can see it's not quite the same size. So I think in this case I probably will choose not to replace the asset, but what I could do is just drag it until it's coming up as the same size as the one opposite, and then move it around a little bit as well till I get it exactly where I want it, and then I can either duplicate that or I can go through the same process again. So in this case I'm just going to duplicate it, going to drag it over here, and we'll put it where that one was, but make sure that it's lining up with the one on the other side. Hopefully. Let's get rid of the ones behind to start with. Did I duplicate that? Maybe I didn't. I did now. That'll be why I can't line them up. So that's what you want to do. You want to just duplicate those and drop them in, and I'm just going to try and use that line there to line them up properly, and then make sure they're sort of evenly spaced there as well. So that's what you do to add in your logos, and you might want to choose to lock those in and throw the other two logos in the bin because you're not going to need them. Then you're going to want to choose what your background is going to be. So in this particular case what I think I can do is get rid of this text at the top here, because we don't need that text there, so that you can see the background areas there. So in the background what I want to do is come down to the bottom here and have a look at what backgrounds I have available to me. So at the moment I've just got a colour background in here, so if I click on here I can go and change the colour fill if I want to, and if I wanted a horrible pink background then I could have a pink background, but for the moment I'm just going to stick with that white one there for demonstration purposes. We'll come back to that in a minute. But there's also one for a gradient background, so exactly the same process there. You can choose different colour gradients. So if I went to magenta and then came back here, if I hide the colour above it, which is that colour background, I'm going to get the magenta one coming through. And with the tints in the background, the gradients in the background, you can also roll them about as well if you want to move from left to right, top to bottom, or whatever. So that's how you can change your gradient background and match it in with your own colour scheme. So that's nice and easy. I'm going to unlock these two elements here as well, because I'm noticing that they're a bit further away than I want. That one is. That's just me being picky now. That looks about right now. So that's how you change your backgrounds. Alternatively, if you didn't want those backgrounds, let's turn off the colour background there. Now you can see what's popping through is one of the other backgrounds below it, so in this case that art background 1. So I can turn that off and bring in the next ones and have a look at which other background styles that I have available to me in the standard artboards that I have dropped in. So there's a few different ones there available to you, or you can drop your own one in, which is what we're going to do in a second as well. So if I come back and show my colour background again, so this is the standard background that I am using. If I want to drop my own background in, then the area that I want to do it in is down here somewhere. So I could bring up my Finder, or if I wasn't in live demo mode it would be easier, and drop my background somewhere in here. So it could go somewhere like this. So I happen to know that I have one background up here which I used for John's session, so I'm just going to go cheat a little bit. I'm going to grab that background out of his espresso one here. So here's his background, And what I'm going to do here is take that background and pretend it's my one for everything, and I'm going to drop it in, and I can put it either in the standard backgrounds, above the standard backgrounds, providing it's on the top anyway. That's going to work. So I'm now going to find that that's in all areas. And I also notice that the blur is on in the background here as well. So I've got a blur and a color tint. So if I get rid of the blur, then I'm going to get sharper lines for that image. And if I get rid of, put on the color tint, it's actually going to change the coloring slightly as well. So go play about with those things. So let's go back to the title scene, because what that's going to do now is I've suddenly got John's sort of look and feel to this scene. So let's have a quick look at the blur effect on this and see what that does. So the blur works quite nicely on some elements, and in this case not so well because we've got some fine detail, so I wouldn't use the blur here. But let's also have a look at the color tint as well. I'm going to hide the blur, I'm going to reveal the color tint, and just let you see what's going on with the color tint. So that one's going from orange to white, but let's make it orange to red, and suddenly I am changing my background look and feel, and it looks all right, but it's not John's standard look and feel, but it looks okay. So I could do that if I wanted to as well. So that's the color tint in the bottom. So you want to go play about with all of those elements in the bottom area there until you get the look and feel that you're after. Also, what you might want to do obviously is change and color match texts and things like that. So if I come back down to, let's just say solo host, we'll have a look at that one, and if I say solo host and comments, then I am going to currently get a sort of dark blue color going on, and that's picking it up from the background. It's actually a semi-opaque black, so it's going to pick up whatever's in the background. So on this particular scene I might want to change that color, so I could do that, but bear in mind once you have done that, you're going to need to change it on every single scene. So every scene that you have a comment placeholder on, you're either going to want to change it here and bring in a new comment placeholder, or go to this place here where it says placeholder and make a copy of that and then put it into the scene that you're going to use. So just bear in mind, if you do decide you want to change the colors and the fonts and things like that, it could be a bit of a pain in the butt to go down all of them and change every single one. What I also have in this particular scene is a couple of bits of text going down either side of me that say my live show very subtly there at the moment. If I wanted to change those, I can just go and change the text in there as well. And again, I might want to cut and paste those into each scene where those appear. So in my case, let me go back up to John's and then steal the ones that I've already done from John. So I'll go back to the top here, and here I have got a ticker going on, and I've got John going on, but down here in the text area I have got the two elements of text that sit either side. So I'm just to do Command C for those, and then I'm going to come back into the file that I was in before where I was just solo with comments. So me solo with comments, so I've got my live show there and my live show there. So in the text folder I want to get rid of those two, pop them in the bin, and I'm going to now paste in my new ones. So you would normally just open that up and type it all in, but because I've already got them sitting there, it's quicker for me to do that than press all the wrong buttons. But anywhere that you want those two to appear down the sides, then you're going to have to cut and paste those in. So if I go look for another one, probably not that one, host and two guests, there's one there. So if I wanted it on this scene here, then I'd have to come to this scene again, get rid of those two, or change them. But once you've changed them once, you're just going to want to do Command C, Command V to put your new versions into the appropriate location. So let's go back up to host 1, guest, solo and comments was where we were playing about. So the only other thing that you're going to have to change really, and this is the final thing you need to change, is all of the name placeholders. Now that's going to be a pain in the neck actually, because unfortunately there is no way of globally changing a text placeholder. That might be coming soon because a lot of us have been asking for it, but for the moment it's not there. So you're going to have to go in and edit the text and change the text. And if I say I am John McKenna, I could just save that on each scene, or alternatively I can come in, go to edit text, do Command C to copy it, and then any other scene that I went on to. So if I go back to, where was I, was it 2 guests and comments? No, it's just 2 guests, wasn't it? So I'd come back onto this scene, come back to the text here, edit the text and grab that, Command V and save it. So you can do that each time you want to change the text, but you unfortunately are going to have to go through and take each text element and change them. But bear in mind, you don't have to go and do that for every single slide on the 75 slide deck if you're only going to use a small amount of them. However, if you want to spend a couple of hours on day 1 going through the whole deck and changing it, as I did for John actually, then you can do so, and you'll only ever have to do it once, so that when you come back to the deck, you're going to know that everything is as it should be. So those are the things that potentially you need to be changing. And as I say, what you would also be doing is coming in here and saying, oh, I'll tell you what, to start with, I think I'm going to have a couple of blank slides for my titles, so I'm going to take 2 of those, and you could put those into a folder for run of show. So create your own run of show folder. So let's do something like that, shall we? So new group here, my run of show. So in that run of show folder, what I'm going to do is say, right, oh, I want a copy of that countdown here. So just Command C, and I'm going down to the run of show and Command V. So my countdown is now in there. And then after my countdown, perhaps I want to say, right, it's just me solo. So I can drag and drop that into the other folder, but it's probably easier to just do Command C because you can get lost with drag and dropping. And then come back down here, Command V. So I've got a countdown, and then I've got me as the solo host, and then perhaps I want to go straight to me with 1 guest on or 2 guests on, but let's say I'm going to go straight from me solo to me like this, and then me and the guest with comments. So I could take both of those if I want, highlight them, Command C, and I can come back down here, Command V, and now I've got a little show now beginning to build together. So that might be quite useful. And then maybe I want to do a host, guest and screen share. So I'm going to take the host, guest and screen share. They're of course in host and 1 guest because I've only got 1 guest going on today. Command V, and so suddenly I've got a run of show which goes from countdown, me on my own, me and my guest, which will slide in nicely, and me and the guest with comments, and potentially me and a guest with a screen share, and then I might choose to finish off with something from here that's maybe got socials on it, or pictures of guests for next time, or whatever it is that you want to add into these potentially blank scenes. So to that one, it would be Command C on there, and I'll come down to the run of show, Command V, and there's my blank file there for the run of show. So bear in mind what I told you about adding in different elements here. So you will have to add in the different elements where they don't exist. So in my particular case, I've just copied all the blank files. So I'm just going to go grab the from John's version here, the left and right highlighted areas, because those are the ones that you are going to have to make copies of. So they're under text and icons, or text in most cases. So I'm going to take those and just put them into my run of show, so that we do create a total run of show for you. So in here I can collapse my countdown, get rid of those 2 items of text into the bin, and then paste in the new ones. Command V, not Option Martin, Command V. So I've now got my titles on that scene, and I can come down to the host solo, and I don't need them on that scene. Host and 1 guest. Oh, I do need them on that scene, so I come down and say, right, okay, let's get rid of the existing ones, and I'm going to drop in my new ones. Host, guest and comments, don't need them on that one. Host, guest and screen share, don't need them on that one. But maybe my final scene here, that I do want to bring them in, so I'll get rid of them here. So once you've done that, I've created my complete run of show. Now I can do one of 2 things here. I can either grab all of the stuff above it and put it into the bin if I want to, or alternatively I could take that run of show there, that folder, the whole folder, and I can drag it out onto my desktop, and then I can drag that effectively. If I show you here, I can take that and pull it back in again, and it's added in the run of show. So the reason I've done it twice is that what you would do is drag it out to your desktop, then create a brand new blank profile, and then just drag that folder back into the blank profile, and you'll have just your run of show in there. So hopefully that all makes sense and it's not too difficult. So that is more or less everything. Perhaps I ought to go show you as well just a little bit on the timers and countdowns and things like that, because I did add some bits and pieces onto the countdown in terms of names and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to try and widget my way back out again a little bit here, so I can get to John's countdown to show you what I changed. So all I did in John's countdown was drop in an image of John and then put a little drop shadow around him. So here I've got a little drop shadow around John. I put his logo in here, and I put a bit of a drop shadow on that and a bit of perspective on it as well, just for interest really. And then what I also did was come into these circles and then choose to make the motion border the green and orange colours to match John's colours. So I did that for both of the circles. So that circle and that circle, I've changed the motion background colours. And I've also gone and changed the text colour in the ticker there that I've put on, just again to match John's colour scheme in the little orange dots here. So that's what I have done, and that is the total really of what I have done in terms of changes. So they didn't really take too long to do. The one that it does take the longest to do is to go and change all of those name placeholders, and I'm afraid there's no way around that. So the other things that you're going to have to add in, your own music. For copyright reasons I can't add music in, and I can't really add sound effects in either. So you're going to need to go to your favourite location for sound effects and your favourite location for music, and drop those onto the scenes as they are required. So hopefully this is all recorded properly, and if I now roll back out, I should be able to go out of live demo mode, and you should now just be seeing me on the whole screen. So that's it. The lesson endeth for the night, and hopefully that's recorded, and I'll upload it in a moment. Cheerio from Edinburgh.